Good afternoon from the beautifully verdant county of Surrey in the United Kingdom. My name is Willow Andreasson, also known as Surrey Sunflower to those of you who are familiar with the Freedom Slips Revolution Radio chat room. This is the first of the promised video diaries that I mentioned I would commence doing in my last video. Got some interesting effects on here, as you will see, primarily to sort of disguise the fact that my living room is in a little bit of a sort of state of chaos at the minute. But as I said, this is something I promised I would do, and I'm excited about it. And you get to see my dolly old eek for the first time. If you can hear laughter behind me, that's my partner Briarios. And what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be looking at one of my blogs today, because I have a blog, which is a WordPress blog. It's willowandreasson.wordpress.com, and I've posted on there for a number of years now. And the article I'm going to be looking at today, the blog I'm looking at today, is thoughts with regard to our planet's magnetic field. Now, I'm going to try to keep focused on the camera as best I can, but if I don't, that's because I'm looking at the article. So I'm going to do the best I can here, folks. This article was posted up on April 19th, 2015, and it'd been a beautiful day. And as I observed on the article, I've been watching the ongoing developments with our beautiful planet's protective shield, otherwise known as its magnetosphere, for a number of years. I mean, the topic's been a prominent area of discussion with my sister, and it's one she first raised the shade under. It was 7 years ago at that point, but it's actually now over 8 years ago. Now, her revelations were detailed on two earlier blogs of mine. July 2013, one called Thoughts Interdimensional Overdrive, and a further one a year after that, called Our Planet's Weakening Magnetosphere. Now, people who listen to my show, because I have a show on Freedom Slips Revolution Radio on Monday evenings, 6 PM Eastern to 8 PM Eastern on Studio B. Everybody knows I'm a very, very big admirer of the work of Ben Davidson, otherwise known as Suspicious Observers, and also Billy Evelton as well. I mean, very much admirers of their works. He posted his own update video, 5 Truths About Earth's Magnetic Reversal, on his website and YouTube channel about a year ago. It's called 5 Truths, as I say, about Earth's magnetic reversal. Now, to summarize the 5 truths detailed in that video, first one is Earth's magnetic poles are shifting. Ben discusses a hastening acceleration of the poles, a fact that's been confirmed by NASA during recent months, and speculates as to whether the future projected slowdown is in fact understated, and I believe it is, and I think there's every indication from recent data that that is the case. Earth's magnetic field is fading. The weakening of the magnetosphere is hastening. A strong degree of non-homogeneity, I can never get this word right, folks, but I'm not going to correct this, just so you can see that non-homogeneity. There you go. A non-uniformity with this weakening is occurring, with one of the weakest field levels existing over the area known as the South Atlantic Anomaly, which is off the northern coast of Brazil in the Atlantic Ocean. Now, the interesting thing to note there, that there's been a little bit of tectonic activity there in recent years, just to keep an eye on. These are my additions, my notes as I'm going along. The poles are moving towards each other. Well, there's a general assumption that when any reversal of magnetosphere is uniform in nature. It's not likely to be the case at all. Evidence is mounting that the poles are moving towards each other, like magnetic north is descending towards magnetic south, with an ultimate meeting point which Ben has ascertained to be below the equatorial region near the Indonesia Bend. Now, this location would be fresh in the memories of those who have followed Ben for a significant period of time, especially in relation to the South Bali buoy situation. Hypothesis presented in the video suggests that if the South Pole were to remain in the region of the Bend, the North Pole's approximate Antipodean location would be off the coast of Venezuela, just between the Bermuda Triangle and South Atlantic Anomaly, as a matter of fact. Now, that's interesting to me, and I'll share why a little bit later on. Magnetic reversals are linked with extinction level events. Well, there's strong evidence to suggest that extinction level events follow a magnetic reversal. A weakening magnetosphere allows the escape of oxygen from the planet, leading possibly to global hypoxia. There is a possible danger of the occurrence of a star water type event, such as an arc storm. It's an atmospheric river storm scenario hypothesis proposed by the United States Geological Survey. The planet would also become particularly susceptible to the effects of CMEs that would barely have caused even a dent to the magnetosphere in times past. Now, again, not being an expert, but if you had checked today's details, Ben's video in particular of today's date, and also spaceweather.com or spaceweathernews.com, have a look at the KP index, folks, and this wasn't projected. We've been in a state of geomagnetic storms for over 24 hours now, and it wasn't projected, or indeed predicted. Now, the atmospheric river scenario is highly reminiscent of the water in the skies described in the Vedic scriptures, which, if I recall correctly, is not widely believed to have ascribed to any meteorological phenomenon noted today. And I feel that's something that's worthy of further investigation. Now, the reversal may come sooner than expected. Indeed, professors at Berkeley UC have indicated that magnetic reversals can occur rapidly within a human lifetime. And in fact, my sister has even indicated that don't be surprised, she said, if it happens within our lifetime. Because it's been ongoing for a few hundred years now. Now, my thoughts. Now, one of the things I would like to say prior to commencing this journey upon this particular train of thought of mine, the disclaimer is I haven't discussed these views with Ben. They're not to be attributed to him. They're my comments, my thoughts, my opinions only based on watching his works, reading various journals, articles, blogs, and also based upon my sister's own comments. I've just done my research. These are my thoughts, my opinions only at this point. Now, we've been discussing this for a number of years now, my sister and myself, and dangerous sounding repetitive. I think it's worth, there's a quote here from my July 2014 blog, which is called Our Planet's Weakening at Magnetosphere. Now, they're wandering, they will continue their meanderings until they finally decide upon a permanent move. Now, she's compared the speed of a switch as comparable to the snapping of an elastic band. There will be no land-consuming mega tsunami, no folding of mountains. To quote my sister, there will be an abundance of auroras all over the world while the poles are deciding where they're going to finally settle. That's not to say that there won't be effects on everyday life. There certainly would be. She suggested a possible connection between increased volcanic tectonic activity and magnetic instability. It stands to reason our planet would need to release the pressures incurred during particularly stressful transitional periods in its cycle, and this is necessary for her well-being. Humans may not share that viewpoint, though. Now, I came across some notes of one of our January 2011 conversations in which he revealed that these flips occur more frequently than is believed. The reason that the magnetosphere is weakening is because the planet is preparing for its flip. Magnetic changes are behind the increased animal deaths, human behavioural changes, increased volcanic tectonic action and climate extremes and changes. Suddenness of changes and the fact that the reverse was fairly imminent in our timescale, as I just mentioned. I will probably read out the July 2014 blog at a later date, but not today. But I'll provide links to everything here. You'll find them very easily. I'll put them in the description box down below. You'll find them, and I'll make sure you can find the information. It's also worth looking at Ben's Superflood YouTube video as well, just to learn what that's about. What piqued my interest was Ben's hypothesis concerning ultimate locations of post-reversal poles. Now, I did a screen capture of his video, and that's on the blog. I won't actually attach that to the end of this video, but I will attach mine. As I say, you just need to go to his blog or his videos, and you'll see exactly what he's talking about. Now, from chapter 19 of the original unpublished manuscript for A Journey into the Mysteries of Life, which was it's a huge tome originally, and I've broken it down. My sister and I worked together on this one. Now, she described locations of post-reversal magnetic poles and the potential consequences on the global weather system. And of course, there's evidence now that things aren't right. Well, not for us. For the planet, it's normal, but for us, it doesn't seem right. Now, her view was that the new magnetic South Pole was due to be located off the north of Brazil. The new magnetic North Pole is going to be located off the coast of Siberia. or in that area. It's going to bring about changes in climate. For example, the UK is going to experience tropical wet summers and bitterly cold winters. Now, frequent flooding will become commonplace. Changes will seem sudden, will bring about harsh changes as the planet and mankind adjust to these changes. Now, my knowledge of geomagnetism is fairly rudimentary. I mean, I won't even attempt to describe or explain the physics behind the dynamics because I'm not fully eloquently conversant in the subject matter. I understand that the magnetosphere, though, can enter a period of flux or chaos throughout the duration of the reversal. It can effectively pop up all over the planet while the magnetosphere is undergoing its readjustments. I'll try to keep this abridged because of obviously the restraints of the time restraints for this. But there's already a possible complication with regard to those locations because northern Brazil is not Antipodean to Siberia. Now, look at the Antipodes equirectangular map on Wikipedia, and you'll see exactly what I mean. Now, it's not to say that neither location could be exempt from being a new pole after a period of readjustment. It's just that they couldn't be the yin to each other's yang. Now, the Siberian magnetic pole location, much of southern and western Siberia landlocked, they can be eliminated, I feel. Have a look at the seas between the north of Siberia and the Arctic Cape, and also the Sea of Okhotsk. Now, the Sea of Okhotsk is an interesting one because there's been tectonic activity there recently. Worth looking at that. Now, if a new magnetic North Pole eventually settled within the northern Siberian seaboard, the new magnetic South Pole would logistically settle within the Southern Ocean, just beyond Queen Maud Land and Antarctica. Now, if it's eventually settled within the eastern Siberian seaboard, the new magnetic South Pole would fall into the Scotia Sea areas. Now, to give one a good idea of that location, the Falklands, South Georgia and South Sandwich Islands are served by Scotia Sea, and of course there's been some interesting quakes there recently too, folks. Magnetic South Pole would be situated off the coast of northern Brazil, says my sister. As I said, post-readjustment, this location could not coexist with a Siberian-based magnetic North Pole. Now, it's been easier researching the proposed location of the magnetic South, as the equatorial northern Brazilian beaches are blessed by the waters of the northern Atlantic. So the Antipodean region, i.e. the location of that new North Pole, would be the equatorial Bismarck and Solomon Seas located to the north of Papua New Guinea, and there has been a considerable amount of shaking there recently, folks, and it's not stopping. Now, this is a scenario I envisaged, and I'll attach the little graphic I did at the end of this video. Magnetic North Pole would ultimately be located in the equatorial Bismarck and Solomon Seas region, with magnetic South being located within the South Atlantic anomaly off the northern Brazilian coastline. Now, it's very similar in areas to where Ben described, which is why when I saw his this little clip, I thought, ooh. Now, my own conclusions, as I say, I mean, mankind has almost certainly observed and experienced this before, and whilst scientists, geologists and many gifted researchers have gathered evidence of plenty of geological effects, we've not yet experienced the actual phenomenon. Every single piece of evidence uncovered goes towards slotting further pieces into a jigsaw puzzle that is the true fullness of life on Earth, and the old adage is hope for the best, prepare for the worst might be the approach of many. And the process of geomagnetic reversal is undoubtedly underway. Now, rather than fearing potential cataclysm, let's embrace the opportunities to study the phenomenon, to detail its effects for future posterity. Great mystery to be solved. Beautiful sights in the skies, as colourful auroras blaze in their fullest glory. So hope for the best, prepare for the worst by all means, but never ever fear the cycle of change. Now, I'm coming up to the end of the video now, because I'm trying to keep it abridged for time purposes, but I will attach as much detail as I can below, and I thoroughly suggest you have a look at the blog, look at the videos suggested, click on the links in the description box, and have a good read, and I'll post up something else again in another couple of days. So this is my first video diary. Thank you for joining me.